So how does acne develop? So usually during the teenage years, androgens go up, sebum production goes up. So if you think of like the pore like this, sebum starts to rise. Now at the top, we get something called hyperkeratinization. So that's sticky skin cells at the top, which forms a plug. Now you've got this anaerobic environment, no oxygen in here. But we have something called P. acnes bacteria, which is chomping away on all that delicious sebum and producing something called free fatty acids, which are highly irritating. Now, that's why we get PIE, redness in that area. But what also happens with skin of color is that inflammation triggers a melanocyte leading to PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So skin of color people start to get dark marks as well. Now, then what we basically need to do is, number one, we need to use a vitamin A in order to help with the hyperkeratinization. Number two, we have to use antibacterials to kill the P. acnes bacteria. Number three, we have to use sebum controllers such as niacinamide. And number four, we want to use salicylic acid in order to unclog the pore. So that's the very basic over-the-counter products that you can purchase. And we have an aftercare, we have Trio Blemish range, which basically does that. But what it also needs to add for skin of color is the anti-pigmentation actives. And these don't exist right now. So if you go to Boots or Walgreens, there isn't an anti-acne system for skin of color. So that's what we created with the Trio Blemish range. Now, with this particular treatment, throughout the entire thing, we're controlling sebum. There's antibacterials throughout the whole process. We're using microneedling in order to help with the pigmentation. And then they go home with their aftercare kit. Now, both can use this. Caucasians and skin of color patients can use this. But if you're skin of color, this is the only professional grade treatment that exists for you. Whereas if you're Caucasian, there are other things that you can use, and pigmentation is not going to be such a big problem for you. The other thing that I don't think people understand maybe is being a person of color is different to having skin of color. So you could look like quite fair and live in Europe and think, I'm Caucasian. But actually the definition is, if your skin is more likely to tan rather than burn in the sun, you have skin of color and your skin is behaving like skin of color. So you have to be really actually very careful, and you should ask that question. And that's sort of that's a flag. When you ask that question, it's a green flag that this clinic knows what they're talking about.
I think as well, because there's been a lot around this, hasn't there, where people have, when they've done their DNA kind of history, and they've found that like sort of all of the countries that they've got ancestors from and things. So it's like, and that's going to get more and more really, isn't it, as time goes on. So have you protected these products? Because the thing is that like they are fantastic. They're amazing. But are you worried that other people are going to start and copy?
Do you know, I used to be worried because I talk about all my products in detail. Everybody knows every percentage in every single one of my products. But the reason why I'm not worried is because I really believe that more than the product is the trust that people have in me.
Yes.
And I think that you can't replicate this.
Yeah.
So I think that's where like personal responsibility comes into play. If a faceless brand, for example, came out with something, they're going to have to do the same legwork that I've done. And they're going to have to spend the next 5-10 years just teaching about skin of color and actually know what they're talking about when it comes to skin of color, rather than just replicating. Yeah. I think replicating is I'd feel very sorry for any brand that just tried to replicate it, because it'd be really obvious. And innovation is important.
Well, I mean, I've been in the industry for over 40 years. And in that time, and obviously I know a lot of brands, but I don't think I've ever come across anyone that can talk about skin of colour like you can.